Hey guys, how's it going? Lee here. So, big news, I've just recently got married. And I thought I would share how I financially managed the wedding with my partner to get it all under $10,000. Now, for many of us who are thinking of getting married soon in the future, maybe you're not even thinking about getting married at all, or you just don't want to have the idea or thought in your mind. Regardless, even if you're not thinking about getting married anytime soon, it's an important conversation to have with your partner who might be thinking about it, and especially if you've been together for quite a long time. But before having the important conversation and looking at how we operated all of that under 10 grand, I think something much more important and pressing needs to be looked at. And that most important thing for me is actually to have a conversation with your partner to look at what the purpose and the value of your wedding means to you individually. Both of you individually, that is. Because if you've been in a relationship for a long time, we all understand that it's all about compromise. So, it's about getting together, understanding where each party comes from, culturally, value-wise, how you value money, all that kind of stuff, and then meeting a middle ground in between that and what fits both of you on your special day. So for me, having worked in the legal sector for a while and done a fair few divorces myself, marriage, it was kind of whatever. For me, I just wanted to get it done at the registrar and then spend the majority of our money in the honeymoon. And I guess that's just having gone through and seen all those divorces happen and not value the process as much. And so for me, bare bones was the greatest approach to the whole wedding, which would have cost us maybe like $1,000 to $2,000 to do all of that, and then the rest of the money would have been used towards the honeymoon. But for my partner, now wife, she wanted a bigger wedding. But after having a few discussions, we really looked at what she valued and who's impacted her in her life. We went from potentially 80 people plus all the way down scaling to about 40 people or so. And even for me, that's slightly more than I expected. But I will say one thing, my partner is savvy just like myself, and so we really did stick to the 10K limit and try to stay well below that. And so, without further ado, let's dive into the budget. So guys, this is the cost breakdown for each one of the given genres, and you've got the total at the very bottom, right? What I'll do is I'll go over each of these categories, but I won't go over the individual expenses to great details. I'll go into what I think is most important. So the first one we have there is the venue. So this is the first thing on most people's list and that they'll think about, and generally is fairly expensive, probably the second highest cost or sometimes the highest cost. Now this will be different for everybody given your religious requirements, whether you need a church or a chapel, which would cost a couple hundreds to a couple of thousands. And if that's only the cost for hiring out the church or the chapel, you're obviously going to need a place for the reception as well, where you'll be hosting food and having people who attended your wedding sit around and just mingle, I guess, and get drunk. So we wanted a place not only to host our wedding, but to have our family stay over and enjoy the company, have a good time. So the venue needed to be rather versatile for that purpose, and we needed enough space to host the wedding and, well, some amenities for the fun for the kids. So the property we ended up going with for both mine and Sabrina's family costed us about $1,265.27. That was through Airbnb. It was a rather big estate, had enough space for a pool, had enough space to host a wedding, had a little shed in the back, which we didn't really use, and the house was a 2-story house with a very homey touch, and so it was brilliant, absolutely great. Really loved that place. Even thought about buying a place like that, but I hate maintenance, so that wasn't going to happen. And then we had to hire a venue for the extended family that were flying up from Sydney. I heard that place was much nicer than the one we were at, but the land space was rather small. That was just under $800. So in total for the venue, we spent about $2,000. So in terms of the wedding setup, obviously we didn't have a church or a chapel where you might have the seating and all that kind of stuff set up for you already. What we had was more of like a backyard wedding. So we had to set up our own arches, chairs, tables for reception, the backdrop for selfies and whatnot. Like these little things, they're kind of discretionary, but you kind of need them at the same time. We had a marquee set up just in case, the weather wasn't going to go well, which, it almost didn't go well on the day. So luckily we had all of that. So beautiful weddings there. They delivered the chairs, the little walkway stuff, the arch. They even gave flower petals and whatnot as well. That was just under $1,000. The marquee was just under $850. Then they set that up. They were really good at that. Custom sign in the back was about $45. Audio and sound. So with the audio and sound, we were going to rent out or lease some microphones and some speakers, but to lease or to rent it was like $80, $90. So we just ended up just buying our own, which is about $129. So that wasn't bad at all. So we've got flowers here also as an expense, so that included flowers on the table and whatnot as well. That was really nice, a nice little piece of decoration on the table. That was about $700. And then the seating and the tables was just under $1,000 itself. And so our total cost there is $3,853.50. But the cool thing I will say about hiring all these services is that the people who come and deliver the stuff to you, they're all professionals. I mean, they do this for a living, not a side hustle. So they're quite efficient when they're coming to set up all the stuff, and it helped us heaps, and it took a lot of stress off our hands. And saying that, we did go out to help set up and pack away the tables and chairs also, just because we're decent people. In terms of food, now food is definitely going to be one of your biggest expenses. You think of most weddings, especially if the reception's outside of the wedding venue, like you've got to pay for another venue, so that's 2 different venues. And paying for food per head, like I had a search online, and most venues was about like $100, $110 a head, some even more expensive than that. So for example, you invite 40 people times 100, that's $4,000. And so you'll notice that the cost of our food was rather small, with the exception of Tasty Pockets. It was a food truck. We wanted the Hawaiian vibes, and that's what we were going for. What's more Hawaiian than a good food truck? So we paid for that. That was probably our biggest expense. And then the other ones were just the cake, some soft drinks and alcohol, and the cutlery along the way. But overall is rather small. In saying that, we were very fortunate to have both our mothers and their friends help cook some more traditional food and some desserts as well along the way. So that saved us a lot of cost, and it made it a bit more, traditional, authentic, cultural, all of that kind of jazz as well. And people really liked it. So that was a big positive for both mums to hear. So the last one, discretionaries. These are things that that'll probably be at most weddings, but I put it in discretionaries because again, it's kind of optional. You'll see what I mean. So invitations, you could send out e-invitations, which cost you nothing. Plane tickets, if you didn't have to fly anybody up, it would cost you nothing. Hairstylists and whatnot, you could get some of your girls maybe to style hair if they know how to do that, and if you guys aren't too fussed about that kind of stuff. And personalized robes, I mean, the ladies just wanted that. So yeah, so that was about $1,000. And so if you add all of that up, you have a total of just under $10,000. Now, we were very fortunate enough to receive a gift from my sister-in-law in terms of a videographer. Now, we thought we were going to get like a package, like a video and photography. Unfortunately, it was just videography. I will say, based on my experience, that the whole videography experience felt quite fake, to be honest. Just having to stage, and I understand. I mean, I do YouTube videos where you've got to capture things, and I've filmed little short films before, so I get it. That's just how it works, and how else are you meant to create a scene and tell a story unless you get people to stage it? If you get the right photographer, it captures all the emotions anyways, and it'd be cheaper. You probably get it in a quicker, shorter amount of time, to receive your photos. Yeah, I think you're just gonna overall get better bang for your buck as well. In saying that though, can't wait for our video to arrive. It's been like a month and it still hasn't arrived. This is what I'm talking about. They said it could take up to 3 months. So anyways, guys, that was a gift to us. So yeah, get a photographer. Don't worry about the videography stuff, because I mean, you can't print that stuff out anyways, but you can print photos out and then give them to friends or show them to friends and colleagues and family and frame them. But anyways, guys, that's pretty much our cost. I hope this helps you guys in some way who are looking to make a smaller wedding. Apart from that, guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure you like, subscribe, leave a comment below on your thoughts. If you're planning for a wedding, if you've had one just recently, or if you're not even thinking about one at all, just leave your comments down below, and I'll see you guys next time. Cheers.